Yes,
3, 2, 1, action. You got to push the little button too as well.
I got it.
Uh,
I got it. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Sylvia here. So excited to be here leading your meeting en route to Temecula. Meeting up with some family over there. We're going to be excited to wait for our superstar, Kelvin Chang, that's going to be on stage. That is like, whoa, that's huge. Um, So we're here on the road. I'm not in Temple City, but an agency that cares, an agency with a lot of heart. I'm so excited to go ahead and say that, the best quote today is just live life. Live life. And that's by no one. I just made that up because we do need to live. We need to coexist and we need to live no matter what life throws at us. Because guess what? You're the only ones in charge of you. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and begin with the greetings of our affiliates. And as usual, John, you're up. It's usually between Scott and John, but it's John right now. So, John, you're up.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Kelvin, for allowing us to be here. We really appreciate that. Yep, summer has sprung, and I'll take the cooler weather at this point. But this is a great time to touch base with your clients, checking in with them, seeing how they're doing, letting them know it's still a great time to invest in real estate, also to buy and sell real estate, and you're there to consult with them. They may not be ready, but you might be the concierge person to get them ready if they need someone to come out and clean out the house or paint or whatever. Sometimes you're that person they'll go to. If you give them that information, you'll be the first one on mind when they're ready to do any real estate transactions. As far as what's new in the NHD industry, as of next week, the new FHDS car form, which we include in our reports, will be updated. They're adding 12 new questions to the home hardening part of the form, and it's regarding retrofits. Some examples are: did you change the windows to dual pane? Did you put the covers over the gutters? And did you change your roof, the roof type? If you've done any of those, unfortunately, it's still a work in progress because they only put, like they did the first time they did the form, including the home hardening, with a checkoff, and there's no yes or no above it. And I would say if you don't know, just leave it blank. But if you do know, you could check it. But it will be revised. I'm telling you, it will be revised. And it's in our reports. Don't forget, if you're doing leases to supplement income, we have the free lease report. We're the only one with the free lease report. And lastly, we do have the free property tax estimator. Actually, two more things: property tax estimator. And once you register on our website, you can see any property in California in-out determinations like the NHD statement for fire, flood, earthquake, fault, seismic hazard, just by putting the information in our ordering screen and pushing start on the right-hand side. You'll get that information. It's a great tool. The other thing is, order at time of listing or even take it with you on a listing appointment. You only pay if escrow closes. As I always say, always wear your badges, have cards, pens, appropriate documents with you, because you never know where the next deal is coming from. Let's have a wonderful summer, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here. And
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you. Be safe out there. Stay hydrated. Next, let me see who I see here. Why don't we go with Scott? Scott, you're up.
Hey everybody, Scott Shimamoto, Journey Mortgage Advisors, and I just want to say something about the Federal Reserve and them changing the rates. There's a lot of misinformation out there. When the Federal Reserve changed their rates, it does not necessarily mean that mortgage rates are going to follow what they change. Okay, it's an indicator, but for mortgage rates, you're more looking at things like the stability of the economy, also inflation. So inflation is the enemy of mortgage rates. Okay, a good economy is the enemy of mortgage rates as well. So there's a lot of craziness going on in the world right now. So meaning people are not knowing, like, should they wait to buy a house for mortgage interest rates to come down, and they're waiting for the Fed to make a move. That is not the move you guys need to make, guys. As realtors, what you need to do is you need to use that old adage: you marry the house, you date the rate, right? So whatever the rate is, you you know, you just buy the house, right? You're going to get appreciation on the house, and later on, when rates go down, then you can refinance. But the main message is, do not listen to what's happening with the Federal Reserve on rates. It's only part of the equation. If you want to know what's going on with the rates, in the mortgage side, talk to a mortgage guy who understands how this all works. I would love to help you with your pre-approvals. And thanks, Dynasty, for letting the affiliates participate. Thank you.
Perfect. Always, always. The affiliates, all of you, we're family. And I'm so proud and humble and honored that the Chang family have always kept doors open for affiliates. So we appreciate you. Yes, John. Next here, I see Nicole. Nicole, you're up.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Thank you, Kelvin and Sylvia, for allowing us to join your meeting. Wishing you all a fantastic day, and reach out to us for any of your title needs. Just a reminder, if you're going on a listing appointment, reach out to us and any of the other title partners here. We can provide you with property profiles so that you can clarify who the vested owners are when you're going out for your appointments, especially on the vacant lots. Those are the ones that are being targeted with fraud. So you want to be sure that you're speaking with the correct owners and signing the listing agreement correctly. And also, if they're in a trust, get a copy of the trust. And if you have questions, we're here to help. And as I know, next week is 4th of July. Wishing you all a safe and happy 4th of July. Thank you so much. Keep us in mind for your title needs. Nicole, Fidelity National Title. Thank you. Bye.
You got it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. It looks like Kelvin's got a buddy in there. Is that Sandy?
We got Sandy here.
Hey, Sandy, you're up.
Fabulous. Good morning, everyone. So we had a meeting with our compliance officer on Monday, and I learned some stuff. Even old dogs can learn new things. So I learned some stuff. So only 1/10 of 1% of all of our claims are dumpster fires. She didn't use the term dumpster fire, but that's what I call it, right? 80% of our claims require no assistance other than the homeowner called, tech came out, problem was resolved. So less than 20% involve me getting involved in some way. And sometimes that's as easy as get a different technician out, we continue to a different trade. But if you think about it, that's enormous when you think we have over 1 million contracts in force. Yeah. That few of a number is actually a problem with claims. So I did some other numbers. My territory, Q1 this year, I had 389 claims. $83,000 was spent on those 389 claims. The largest single claim payout was $3,000. And I was only involved in nine claims in Q1. Now that's not going to hold through summer. We all know that's not true, but it speaks to how our system works and how we put the customers and the homeowners first, and that we have a process that actually is usable, doable, and helps them get through it without you having to worry about stuff you don't need to be worrying about. You don't need to worry if the dishwasher breaks 4 days after escrow closes, right? I've got it. So who you work with matters. Trust First American and make sure you're writing crest on all of your transactions. Have a lovely 4th of July. Sylvia, I have something for you. I will leave it at the front desk. I'll give it to Kelvin. Whatever. Right there.
Thank
on his
you.
desk. Okay.
I appreciate you.
Angie's up next.
All
Thank
right.
you.
We got the
Love
other.
that energy. Oh, okay. Awesome. Hey there. How are you?
Oh, love your hair.
Oh, thank you. Yours too. I haven't seen you in a little bit.
I know. I went to Peru for a little bit for see my family.
Oh, perfect. That's awesome. You can also leave your gift for Kelvin and I from Peru on his desk.
Actually, I do have something for you. I gave something to Kelvin already. You're up. I'm going to send it over to you. I'll leave it with Kelvin to get to you.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Hey, you're up.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Angie Tang, First American Title. What Sandy was saying, who you work with does make a difference. First American has been in the industry for 145 years, and we do insure one of the largest transactions, like from Disneyland to Beyonce's home. So a lot of the attorneys love to work with us because we do, when we do get the data, we're very, very extensive with the type of data that we provide. So a lot of companies choose us because we don't want to miss anything. The last thing you want is to have a prelim that's missing a valuable information in it, and it becomes a problem later on. So we're here to help to protect the clients and help realtors grow their business. Andrew Tang, First American Title. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you. Looks like we're
Nice.
covered the affiliates, unless you have someone else there, Kelvin.
Nope.
No more secret laboo-boos in Kelvin's office. Okay, got it. All right. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Kelvin, and let's give him a drum roll for our theme for our sales meeting, which is, if anybody can remember, it's move it, move it, move it. So it's educate, elevate, and who can think of the
Execute.
other one?
Execute.
Execute. Yeah. Well, I know you know that. I was actually going to toss out a little prize for someone who would remember, but keep in mind, I'm going to be throwing these little quizzes out there. So if you want a treat and you want to come into my office and get a little treat, then you go ahead and participate with these little quizzes. So Kelvin, in this beautiful morning here, traveling over to Temecula, we'll see you soon. So I'm going to stay on. I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right, everyone. Thank you. Drive safe, Sylvia, while you're going to our field trip in Temecula. Everyone who's not going, we're still with you in spirit. We're going to be just doing a little bit of our continuing education and having a good time together as a group in an office. Glad to see a lot of you guys all here today attending today's sales meeting. I have a lot of updates for you guys as well. Well, thank you, Angie, very much. Um, so as far as the upcoming schedule events, I know we have a lot of different things already booked fully for July and August. So we'll send that upcoming opportunities the email next week. And I also wanted to just say hello and everyone to introduce Mr. Tony Crespo. He's right here in our Zoom sales meeting, our first sales meeting with us as a company. And I'm very thankful and appreciative. He just got his license. He just joined our firm. He got his license years ago. Now he's ready to make it and put it to use. So let's all give him a welcome whenever you see Tony. Welcome and good guy. And as far as what's going on in the sales side of things, as well as real estate, we have a lot of things to talk about. I know we already mentioned the rates are still remaining elevated, as Scott said. So we're finding that the June Fed meeting did not have any rate adjustments. The Fed continued to keep things status quo. So we're not having any jump up or jump down like we hoped for. Hopefully July, I think there will probably be maybe a 25 basis adjustment. That seems to be what the direction we're going, because we're not in uh, we're in a very uncertain market. Okay, that seems to be the whole 2025 theme of uncertainty. So and in other related news, I mean, the uncertainty we can see is going on in the politicalness of what's going on with the agenda of our executive president branch. And we also have a lot of different uncertainty in the global situations regarding tariffs. We have a situation with Iran and Iraq that U.S. is getting involved in. And there is something that we must talk about is if you're traveling around or you're going to high population areas, there is potential for repercussions with overseas invaders or terrorists attacking or bombing or throwing missiles. Who knows what's going on in this global conflict right now, but I'm just telling you, just be cautious, be careful. There could be flight cancellations if you're going somewhere in the region. So just want to make sure you're watching the news and just making sure you're staying abreast. Uh, in regards to the real estate side of things, um, things are interesting. Okay. And how many of you guys think we're still in a seller's market in California?
No.
Okay. And as I've alluded to in many, throughout some past classes, I've always felt it's a mixed market, and it really depends on where you're at. Things are very localized. The latest report I just found specifically talking about sales and what's going on in pricing. I know the biggest opportunities or the weaknesses where it is 100% definitely a buyer's market, you're looking at Texas, you're looking at Florida. Those areas are suffering from the declines in value. And then when you're looking for areas of high demand, the latest news was New Jersey was actually one of the higher areas where there's a more buyer demand, 3 times more buyers demand than there are the supply of homes. So we'll get into the California market as well, just giving you an idea, nationally speaking, where buyer demand falls. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and get into some other cool links and articles and updates. And we'll have to look forward. We have some June forms releases I'll talk about. We have a couple of economic slides I want to talk about. But first, let's talk about the upcoming learning opportunities. I have the AAR website up so you can kind of visually see with me where some of their classes are going to be. They do have a YPN mentoring moments. So if you want to join June 25th, that's today, that's right now. Every month they're going to be doing some mentoring in live at the AAR office. And if you do have any classes that you want to learn, maybe you want to get 1031 exchange knowledge, maybe you want to know how to set up a trust or an LLC, you can go ahead and submit some suggestions, and the education committee will review your requests. And as far as BRBC classes, you have your 45 hours self-paced courses. This is absolutely free to all of you CAR members. So if you want to get that done, I did my last renewal over here, and you can go ahead and stay and look at reverse mortgages, the legal updates with Paul Chang this time at the Masonic Center for July 9th. And we also have what's this? Karaoke. This is a compassion through action karaoke event charity. So if you want to take a look at what else is going on, we have a networking picnic with hosted by AAR and CARPA collaboration. And we also have some Cloud CMA, MLS trainings. And so this is interesting stuff. This one is going to be jumpstarting your business in difficult times. So that's online, no excuses. If you want to learn and increase your business, this is a down year in real estate for many realtors. Okay. Um, let's talk about the West San Gabriel links of classes. If you are interested, you can take the Commercial Real Estate 101. Rarely do I see a introduction class and an intermediate class, but if you're interested in learning from Joseph Lam, he is from Azura Holdings and kind of teaching a little bit about how he's active and what things he's looking at in investing and kind of giving great tips for realtors. So, commercial class is over here, 11 to 12 o'clock on July 9th. And you're going to have another Dive and Thrive, how to avoid probate at death without a trust or an attorney. So they're going to be teaching you probably how to use the death transfer upon death form. And that's something you can file with your property. So that's William Ha. You have another CMA, Cloud CMA class. I just did a Cloud CMA yesterday, and I was very pleased with how I can do a CMA report in under 8 minutes. So hopefully you can kind of get yourself set up so that you can do your reports and not waste too much time. And then obviously for you property managers, this is a cool opportunity to take a summit class. Pre-register is only $10 and you can learn a whole lineup, a day's lineup of landlord or tenant related classes. So this will be July 30th. If you're interested, this is going to be a collaboration over here. So we have cool speakers. You can see here is sponsored by a lot of different people, and these are all, management companies. You have Mr. Paul Chang. So you have a lot of cool stuff, repeat people who have been in our office, and they're making their tours over there. In the forms, I'm going to make a transition. Actually, let's go ahead and talk about the market first, and then we'll go ahead and get into the forms. So the most recent update did say that they could cut their rates by 50 basis points before the end of 2025. So that just gives us some silver lining that there might be some rate relief coming in the next 5 months. And again, there's only a few meetings that the FOMC does meet before now, from now until to December. So I think there's probably only 3 or 4 extra meetings. So definitely we'll probably see one in the next month. But they kind of just leave the door open. They're not making any changes. They still want to wait and see the data on economics, on inflation, as well as what's going on with if we're in a recession. So it does suggest that 50 basis points by the end of 2025, but who knows whether it's going to be July or it's going to be in August. So housing demand continues to dip as uncertainty remains, is that the headlines. And demand is softening in terms of the buyers because they do not have the strong desire to sign up for 30 years of a 7% interest rate. So with it's not that attractive right now to buy. It's unaffordable, and a lot of sellers are still holding on to their, inflated or high pricing values in their mind. So we are starting definitely to see an uptick in what's called inventory of listings. And in California, I do believe there is a definite rise of overall, but you do need to always do a CMA, do analysis of your local neighborhood and city, because certain cities may still be very strong sellers market in certain areas. So overall, we're looking that we just suffered our first decline in the median home value in the first time in the last 2 years. So that is something that's significant because we experienced a 1.1% decline in value year over year. So that is interesting because normally we always are used to seeing when these statewide aggregated data tells us it's always rising every single month. This is one of the first signals that you should be looking for, that there's some uncertainty. There is a lot of what's called insurance issues there are so many issues in the buying process that there is, unless the prices fall, buyers are not highly motivated. Sure, there's a few, but though, if you're working with buyers, this is a good time where you have the leverage, you have the strength to write the offers that you want. You do not have to go, like fight above asking price. You can give a reasonable offer and still get counters. You can still get a call back. You can still leverage some of the terms that you think is important and package the deal together. So, um, we do not expect a crash. Just reminding you that this is not going to suddenly turn into a buyer completely market because at the end of the day, California still remains a highly desirable and attractive state overall. So unless something major happens, we're not going to see 10% or 20% declines in value overall. That's just not the market slash investors and renters will not let this happen. So we do have tensions, we have geopolitical uncertainties that are dampening optimism. Sure, that's all there. But given those facts, we do not expect to see major swings in values. The last time we had a crash was 2008, 2009 period, and that was strongly because of over too much people signing up for the debt. And the whole bubble crashed because of lenders giving loans to people who just asked for it, and that was a crash waiting to happen. So it's overall what we're looking at. Sales have plunged nearly double digits month over month. And that's what I'm kind of showing and seeing that if you have total housing falling 10% from April, um, this is interesting because there's basically not a lot of construction going on, and the builders are not seeing a lot of opportunities available. The developers are not are being a little bit more conservative right now, and everything that you're finding on the market that's new construction probably is some sort of PUD or a condo townhouse, Majority of the people are just building density units and they're not building a lot of single families. So we're seeing differences in what is the affordabilities. People just can't afford $2-3 million properties when you have to finance at 7% rate. But they could get into something modest. They could get into a condo and townhouse. Now, I want to put a reminder that the agent visual inspection is a duty to your client on the normal CAR contracts. If you're doing something 1 to 4 units, it's a important thing to keep in mind that you want to make sure that you're doing a competent visual inspection of areas that just you can see. You do not need to move any furniture. You do not need to go in the attic or in the basement or the crawl space. All you need to do is just walk the rooms, walk the interior, walk around the perimeter of the house, and proceed forward to make disclosures of material facts and defects that should have been discovered during a normal, cautious investigation. And I just want to remind you, this obligation you have to your client is an area for you to minimize your risk when you do a transaction. If there's something you can see, describe it. Do not put too many adjectives forward, and simply just go ahead and list out the defect without describing or making an assumption. So if you see a black stain in the bathroom, just call it a black stain at the north corner or underneath the window. You could describe the area. Do not describe or make an assumption that it's mold. That's usually the easiest example. So you may go ahead and alleviate some of the liability by disclosing material facts. Remember, material facts is things that also could have been told to you by the seller. So if the seller told you that someone was the prior seller added square footage before they moved in when they purchased, or they had an enclosed patio, or they added a bathroom without a permit. You can also further describe this and supplement the seller's disclosures with your disclosure as well, so that you can avoid the claims of failure to disclose and agent concealment and agent negligence. These are all claims that are going to be used by an attorney against you if there is a discovery that you did not disclose or the seller did not disclose. People usually are not happy when they discover something that's going to cost them a lot of money, right? So as we get into the market update, these are recently updated 5 days ago. So you can probably see here, and there's only 12 slides, how the trends are going economically in California. Do you guys see a blue screen in front of you? Someone say yes or no?
No.
No.
Nope. Okay, let me put that in front and thank you. Do you see it now? Hold on. Do you see this slideshow now?
Yes.
No.
Okay, great.
No.
May 2025.
But
Yes.
Kelvin, I mentioned that I'm enjoying the view of Milo. He's joined in on the meeting, and I love that. He's so intuitive.
Milo loves real estate just as much as we do. He's always plugged into the news. So, um, so we have our second slide, and we have what's called single family homes sales year to year has dropped 4%. Only 240,190 home sales in the state of this is all of California. Let me go back. Hold on 1 second. And so you see the median sales price in California is right nine floating at 900,000, and year over year, that's a slight almost 1% decline in the median sales price. Look at this statistic. Year over year is 46% higher of unsold inventory. 3.8 months of unsold inventory is telling me sellers are still doing their best to hold on to their idea of their value of the property. Holding on to their idea could be a good thing or a bad thing. Some people are successful, and eventually the right buyer comes along and will purchase at their right around their asking price, and it just takes them longer time to find that right buyer. What markets is this? Maybe the luxury market. Maybe it's agricultural, or large farm homes and different areas like that. These two areas, I anticipate it just takes the right buyer, and I understand it could take a longer time to sell. But imagine you're a listing agent and it takes you almost 4 months of open houses. Do you guys understand that's 4 months times four, for example, four open houses a month? You're looking at 16 open houses before you get this under contract. Okay. 16 weekends before you get it under contract. That's the average of unsold inventory. So if you're a good listing agent, you do not want to overprice your property. This is not a market. This is not the pandemic. This is a very um, conservative market that has a lot of uncertainty. Price your property accordingly to your competition. That's one of my strongest suggestions because you hopefully still can get the median days on market, which is 21 days. Okay. What is also telling me is if you're a listing agent, you should probably not secure a 2, 3 month listing because there's a high chance that your property will not sell by that time, and you're going to have to do another discussion of, can I please renew seller my listing? You've already spent $2,000 on marketing. Why don't you make sure you secure your listing with a 6 month plus term? So those are just some ideas when in a slowing market. So the 3.8 months, this is a very high climb to me. That's telling me that the sellers just don't want to reduce their asking price. And so they'll just keep on letting it sit on the market. And that's not going to solve their issue. But the sellers, it's their property, so they have every right to determine what they want to ask. But if you have a motivated seller, you need to give the hard conversation and tough conversation about what it's going to take to sell in today's market. What is your suggestion of the asking price? And maybe there's a compromise where you try their price for 2 weeks and then try my price for the next 2 weeks. That's maybe a middle ground solution to get the best of both worlds, where eventually you'll get your price, but let the seller try theirs first. So, in the median home price had its first decline in 23 months, as I mentioned, year over year is about 1%, month over month, a 1% decline, same, very similar. So nothing is very different from May and June. The rates haven't changed, uncertainty has not changed. And so we're just looking at a flat market, which is what I anticipate throughout the end of 2025. I don't think anything is going to crash. I don't think anything is going to really go absurd high like the pandemic happened. So I think everything's going to remain flat, and that's probably the same news you should probably be telling your clients is it's not very until things change. We're not going to have any major drastic changes. So over the last 5 years, we have the highest levels of inventory in California. Obviously, when you have more inventory, you have more choices of buyers, you have more competition if you're a seller, and the buyers who have a lot of options to choose from may now give reasonable or a little bit more conservative offers because if they don't get this offer accepted with this seller, they can always move on to the next seller down the street, and someone will finally cave in to the buyer's offer proposal. So if you're a buyer's broker right now, you have some leverage. You can have stronger conversations and requests with your offer. So purchases, the sentiment reaches a 6 month high, and this consumer sentiment kind of just say, is this a good time to buy? And in the last 2, 3 years, it's the sentiment has always been under 20%. But in the last 6 months, it does seem to be that some buyers now are considering buying because there's more options, maybe. As far as the bad time, this is just strictly a sentiment poll. So I do believe the consumers are kind of now considering maybe it's a good time to start buying because there's more options and the sellers are not as demanding. Before, we had 20 offers that in our listings, and you're going to see a lot of buyers just experiencing frustration. But now consumer confidence might be bouncing back. Maybe there's only two other buyers or offers to compete against. And that's an easier battle to win versus two people versus 20. So if you look at the consumer confidence index of right here, May 2025, we have 98. So it's an uptick. We'll see what happens. It's not too important to spend too much time on this one. Just giving you a little bit of a visual reference of where the consumer stands. And I think this is the last slide. Actually, we have a couple more. So the FOMC is the dot plot. These are all the economists. If you've never read one of these before, from March to June, they kind of anticipate what you can see a decline in the interest rates, and that the dots represents a person. One of the people who voted said that they wanted, for example, interest rates targets was around 4.5%, and the federal funds rate maybe by the end of the year, you can see they want to target 3% by the year's end. And how they're going to get there is probably going to be um, uh, uh, they're going to probably have two more rate cuts by the end of the year. Okay. So the financial market is taking a rate cut. When is it going to happen? They probably 92% chance say it's going to be around July and maybe another one in September. Okay. We don't know. This is just speculation. So the mortgage rates do fall from their peak of 7% plus. So we're floating around 6.8% is the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage. 6.8% is what I'm writing in my calculations right now. Okay. That was a lot of news share. Any questions? All right, I'm gonna have a few slides to go over. Let me get out of this little slideshow.
Kelvin, I don't have any questions, but can you share what's going on with the VPs, with the verification of properties? I know there's a lot of buzz going on with agents in general, not necessarily in our office, but a lot of agents are taking the verification of property step for granted, and they're waiting till the day of closing, and sometimes saying, "Oh, well, it's okay, we'll do it after closing." It defeats the purpose of what the form is
Happy
there
to,
for.
yeah, I'll be happy to share.
Thank you.
So let me first get this form in front of everybody so we'll see it. Okay.
Thank you.
So the verification of property condition is called is we often in the past reference this as the final walkthrough. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing what the form looks like, and then we'll have a nice healthy conversation. Thank you for adding that question in,
Sure.
Sylvia.
You're
So
welcome.
what's going on is our contract requ actually stipulates in one paragraph, it says, buyer shall be given the right to have a final inspection of the property condition to basically ensure that the property is being delivered in the same condition as it was at the time of purchase, at the time of opening your escrow. And number
Buyer.
two,
Right.
it has the opportunity to review and reflect on all of the repairs that may have been negotiated and agreed upon. This is another opportunity to just basically, if the seller says, I will repair items number 2, 3, and 4 of your request, and they've changed the toilet, they replaced the leaky valve, and they changed out request with the air conditioning. Okay, great. You can verify it. You can take a look, and Within 5 days prior to closing, you can give this form and put the other party at notice that, hey, repairs haven't been done yet, or I noticed that this thing was not completed, or the toilet seems to be constantly making a noise, and I'm not happy with the way you did it. You can give the other party a notice and double check. So if a buyer who's buying this very expensive property, obviously the buyer wants to take advantage of this opportunity to inspect and not wait till the day of closing. Oh, I'll wait till I'm busy. I will wait till later to make sure the property is in the same is what I'm happy with. Well, there's good and bad with that. If you're buying a brand new home construction that's a builder built and you're coming with a builder warranty, okay, you can let your buyer go ahead and go to work. I don't imagine you're going to have any problems with a new builder who has to honor a statutory requirement for new builders to fix and warranty any property or building defect. So you will have no issues. You can waive your final walkthrough if you really have that important need to not go. But if you're buying like 95% of the other properties on the market, they're going to be what's called resold inventory. And if you're buying a property that's older, you're buying a property that does have repairs that are being performed, and you want to make sure a couple of different things, or you find that the seller might be a little bit fishy, or the seller might be sneaky, then I would definitely, absolutely recommend doing your final walkthrough and not checking this box and waiving it. Okay. So in my example, a year ago, I sold a property, and the owner was supposed to repair or have a cabinet replaced. It was for a garbage can, and it was basically falling apart, and the owner failed to do it because the owner opened the door for me and he told me that he was very busy, he didn't have time to get it done. And verbally, me and my client said, well, oh, don't worry about it. We still want to close. And can we address it with a credit? And in this situation, the owner requested, okay, can I just Venmo you $250? And my client agreed. I had let them have that conversation. And again, this is just a cabinet door, so I didn't find this to be very problematic. And so I allowed them to proceed forward because that was the only one thing. The other rest of the property was delivered immaculately. So my client's still very happy and actually just has a new child this past year. So that is what the form looks like. Now let me tell you what are the risks because I just told you what the purpose is. The risks is the most important part to understand as a realtor. From my experience as a broker, I'm telling you, like I told you, the sellers are sneaky, or maybe they just want to extract all the value from the property, or they have not been informed by their listing broker about what is a fixture and what is not. Okay. And so I have seen sellers taking items that were supposed to be included with the sales price to be taken away. Easy small things. It could be a ceiling fan. It could be one of the appliances like the washer and dryer or the refrigerator is common. But I have seen other fixtures. It could be a bracket in the wall for a TV. It could be something significant. Like quite recently, a month ago, they took the entire rear shed, which is a which we don't we is they argued whether or not there was a foundation installed where it was bolted to the ground. If it's bolted to the ground, that becomes a fixture, and then if it's just loose, then that's personal property. Okay. Now, if you do not inform the seller right away, these sellers are just trying to, take everything out of the property. They think it's normal, and it impacts the buyer's first impression when they close escrow and they find that they're missing something that they were looking forward to. So if that happens, then you already immediately have a bad taste in your mouth as a buyer. You as a buyer's broker might get blamed by the association of the seller's by not communicating or not getting this straightened out with your other counterpart, because the buyer can't talk to the seller. So it's only your job to communicate everything between back and forth as a middleman. So I've just seen a lot of nightmare issues where sellers even leave the property in bad shape. Okay? It's a nightmare, it's a mess. There's scratches on the floor. The furniture movers damaged certain areas, broken some tiles, and the seller didn't clean up, or there's going to be dings on the wall, or a lot of more little nail holes that you find for pictures and paintings, and the seller didn't help paint it up or touch up. So you're gonna become, if you're getting all of this surprise after you purchased, then you kind of have a sour taste in your mouth. Before you funded the closing of escrow, the final walkthrough opportunity is your way to communicate, get this done or I won't fund. And there is some contractual differences where you don't have the threat of really not funding. You're still supposed to perform as a buyer, but it gives you reasons to ask for a deposit to be withheld from escrow. It gives you grounds to delay things for a little bit until things are suitable to your buyer's liking.
Right.
And the seller hasn't received the money yet, so therefore they can't just run away. Okay? So those are the reasons why you do your final walkthrough. Any questions on that?
No, thank you, Kelvin. I appreciate that. And sometimes if there's a credit, that can also have an impact on the lender as well. So those are kind of cautions to take as well.
I mean, if there's a credit, you're not handling it during the 5 days prior to closing. So, because that's the window of time to do the final walkthrough is 5 days prior to close of escrow. Any credits should already be negotiated at the contingency removal phase, which is typically 17 to 21 days on depending on how you negotiate things out. And so the first 3 weeks, all credits, all negotiations, bargaining, hopefully should be resolved by then before either party removes contingencies. So that's
I
just
think,
one.
yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is if the seller says, well, the tiles are broken, I will credit the buyer $1,000 to redo the floors there, including labor. So those type of credits can also have an impact on the loan if it's not worded correctly.
Yeah, those are surprise credits if it's done at the final walkthrough phase. And sure, you can always hold
Yeah.
escrow or draft a small credit. If it's a large credit, yeah, it could jeopardize the deal. All right. Do you guys mind if I go proceed forward? It's our 10:50.
Thank
So
you.
we have a couple of new advisories that I want just you to understand. June is a major month for the car zip forms and forms committee. So the standard forms committee just put out some new forms and revisions. So there's a quick summary guide. I will share this link in the chat box. You could always look at it at your own time. Did someone say a question?
No.
Okay. So, well, I never heard of this. Addendum generic, agricultural addendum, amendment to prior disclosure. What the heck are all these new acronyms? Okay. So just gonna let you know a rental property owner advisory. This describes that, hey, buyer, I'm a seller, but I have been renting this property out for the past X years. And so I'm not really sure of a lot of the history. There may be rent control or eviction rent control laws, blah, 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 blah. So it's going to let you understand that if you're going to be a rental property owner, there's an extra advisory for us to use and inform a client about hey, buyer, if you're buying properties, there's statewide rent control by the Tenant Protection Act of 2019, and there could be some exemptions if you fall under these categories. And if the dwelling was built in the last 15 years, you're exempt. But once it becomes 16 years old, now it also applies to you when you buy this duplex. But this takes all that legal language so that it has been disclosed to the client, and you get to avoid being responsible for not explaining that the property they purchased happens to be now falling into rent control. So, if you have a seller in possession advisory, this has been revised with blue letters. And so you can just understand that these revisions are in blue. And it's a good thing for us as realtors to see that real estate attorneys are constantly updating the contracts we use and disclosures so that it's updated for all the new laws that happens in California. Because every time the new law changes, we got to change some sort of um, wording here or there. So, short-term vacation rental advisory, another one where some language is discussing that there are advisories. It might be against HOAs. Short-term restrictions could be suddenly implemented by a condominium association. And so these are just advisories that we as realtors are not aware, or we don't have jurisdiction to control a property's HOA CCR rules. So just be mindful that a lot of communities are trying to ban Airbnb in their condominiums that they live in. All it takes is probably more than 50% of the homeowners to say, we hate all these short-term rentals. I don't want Airbnb people. They party all the time. They always just come in with their luggages and damage the floors and blah 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 blah. So they're all suddenly, not all, but there are going to be a lot more HOAs considering and putting this on their votes to ban short-term rentals. Okay? And if a team form, we don't have a lot of teams, but there's another form if you plan to exit a team. Here is a purchase agreement where the buyer's broker now is revised. Buyer's broker to get, this is very important, guys. This is the area where you get to put in the one area where you get paid. So don't forget the commission if you're going to ask the seller to pay you. Well, then don't forget to request it. I've seen agents this last week say, Kelvin, I forgot to write in my commission. And I'm like, okay, well, withdraw your offer, tell the agent, and then resend it. Okay? It's important that you get paid. I don't think you want to do all this stuff for free. Okay? So, neither CAR nor NAR requires one broker to share with other brokers its client compensation agreements. This is an important fact that we as a buyer's broker, we don't get to request the listing contract. At the same time now, the listing broker does not need to ask for the buyer's broker contract. Okay? It is now being deemed determined that you do not need to share your BRBC form to the listing side. Okay? So, it is not appropriate for one broker to meddle in another broker's relationship with their own client and at what rate they charge. Is someone else's services. We just trust that it's a professional, hopefully, and we trust that their relationship and their own services and their own prices of commission is up to them to figure it out, not us. So don't make legal conclusions whether their form is valid. Maybe they put 92 days on their contract, and then we can't say, oh, I'm not going to pay you because you have an invalid contract because it's only to be intended to be used for 90 days or less. The BRBC is what I'm talking about. So things like this is trying to tell you as realtors, don't be the police on demanding the other side's contract. All right. Here's the compensation areas that have been revised. And buyer's obligation to pay the buyer's broker shall be offset by any amount that the seller happens to pay to the buyer's broker per the area in 3G3 that we discussed. Okay? So if you have supporting forms, BRBC number 4G has been revised right here. And a broker is prohibited from receiving compensation in excess of this amount of the agreement. So do not make any side deals or arrangements that you get paid extra after close. That's a risk of jeopardizing your license. Seller pays the compensation. These are all just the supporting forms that talk about compensation within the listing contract or the seller's advisory. Okay. If you want to learn about the quick legal live up tiny homes, that's the next legal live webinar, which is small manufactured homes, or they have what's called modular homes that some people are installing in their backyards or in the rural areas of the mountains. If you want to learn about that, go ahead, check it out. You have a couple of different cool classes. You have the FHDS form that's been revised in red. So our new FHDS will look like this. Yes and no's, very easy. And these are going to be required if your client is in a high or a very high fire zone. What do they want you to do? We already talked about it that if you have a fire rated roof, great. And you do want to block any spaces between your roof coverings. You want to also, in our last fire class with State Farm, he was mentioning that you want to enclose your eaves. So you would cover up this area here is probably the number one thing you can do to protect your home from a fire. What the other things you want to do is really just making sure your siding and your deck is not combustible, or making sure that you have glass that's multi-paned and not it has a tempered glass material that's not going to shatter or break with fire or cause a lot of issues when you're trying to escape or break through the glass. So the PRBBS, that's just the acknowledgement and consent that there may be dual agency in a transaction. So with other respect to the other party, there's the chance that this confidential information is being disclosed or exchanged from one agent to another. It's very hard to be a dual agent, but it's gonna look a lot different. So if you're gonna take a look at the this and that. Take a look. There's additional signature addendum. This is extra a third or fourth or fifth person. Sometimes you have seven buyers buying one property. And if you do, use this form instead of writing seven signatures and squeezing it all in into the area for two people. This is for additional signers, this form. All right. So we have changes to the addendum. We have changes to amendment to a prior disclosure. Let's just say the TDS and SPQ was already given to the buyer. Well, suddenly you have a home inspection, you have a request for repairs, you have a new report, you have suddenly a memory issue where the seller suddenly has a partner that tells them, "Oh, actually, did you tell them about the leak we had 20 years ago?" And if you have sudden memory of something or you want to add a disclosure, use amendment to prior disclosure. And this is the easy way for you to add a disclosure without redoing the entire SPQ or TDS. So that's good news, okay? If you suddenly have a seller who remembers something, just go ahead and add it on this one form, and you no longer need to redo the entire SPQ TDS. You have a generic addendum, whatever this is. This is just kind of like a proposal you want to put forward and add in something to the contract. Referral fee agreement has been changed. So just take a look. If you want these new forms and read up all the details, you could do it through the CAR website, or you could just go ahead and just check out the chat box. And let me see. Yeah, I already shared it in the chat box, so you have the link. I'm also going to share the sales disclosure checklist, which I'm not going to cover right now, but this is what I use as a broker to let me know what's statutorily or contractually required, whether it's a 1 to 4 units. I will add in that, hey, we have the duty to do AVID. We have to do all these different things. So this is how I keep my checklist up to date, and I shared it with you in the chat box if you ever want to learn. Um, As far as I'm not going to cover the market update. We already did that already. The this website talks about what forms have been revised. So you can see here they've been busy. They have I don't know, 40, 50 disclosures that have been revised in June 2025. If you want to look at all of these links, you can just type in standard forms releases in June, and this will be available to you to see all the full language and the red lines of all the changes so it's easy for you to understand how things have been changed. Let's go into our sales meeting slides and get into, you guys see the MLS in front of you?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, so first I'll get into the actives and let's go ahead and pull them up. I'm going to go by days on market and get this ready for you. All right, I got my screen ready to go. Okay, I'm sorry, this is the wrong side. All right, we have 425 Gladys Avenue in Monterey Park for rent. It will be open this Sunday, and it's a $3,500 monthly rental for a single family with recently built in around 2025, renovated. Beautiful inside interior, large open floor plan in Monterey Park. So if you have anyone interested in a nice rental, this is right near Hellman and New. You can see it's very high-end luxury hotel-like dual sink vanity here. Looks very, very nice place to call home. See, welcome to contact Julia if you have anyone interested in this ADU like a single home. So talk to her. It has 4 parking spots, and this is one of her new rentals for lease. Okay. All right. Next listing is 7045 Chicago Court in Rancho Cucamonga for rent. 3,400 per month gets you a 4 bedroom with almost 1771 square feet. And this Rancho Cucamonga property has very high vaulted ceilings. You have an open floor plan, a lot of cabinet storage. Easily should rent out 3,400 per month. Congratulations to Carmen Lee. 80 Greenmore unit number 40 is in Irvine. This is an 810,000 condominium, 2 bedrooms. They will do open house this weekend. Oh, look at this view. Imagine having a condo. You could walk right here on the sidewalk and take a look at this lovely, lovely condo that's been virtually staged. Okay. If you're doing a staging virtually, just a reminder, you should have the normal view and then you have a virtually staged view subsequently following it. And this is Stonegate, a very nice community inside Woodbridge. And as you can see here, it's ready to go, vacant, move in. Congratulations to Brian Campa on his brand new listing over here. Excellent location. Okay. And our company has another listing in Upland, 168 Royal Way. This is a nice condominium, recently built in 2016. And it's a 2 bedrooms, almost 1150 square feet. Little nice community right here on Upland. Interior looks like it's in great condition. Nice lighting, nice natural lighting. Ooh, green bathroom. Okay. And you have a floor plan. All right. Congratulations to Jerry and Connie Snyder Baker. This is one of their brand new and it's priced very, very low. Only 550 for a condo for that's newly built. Very reasonable. Louis Bocanegra has a new listing on Zero Hayden Ave, Corona. This is a developer's dream where you can build a custom home on rare South Corona land. And we have roughly a nice little lot right here in which um a lot of dirt. Okay. 1225 Charlotte Avenue, San Gabriel for rent. This is a rental for 4,500 per month. And this is Three bedrooms, two baths, but it's very large at 1750 square feet. Um, Congratulations to Claudia Lamb on this rental. It's got a nice big yard. 11027 Myers Drive in Rancho Cucamonga is another active listing, and it's 3650 for rent. It's almost 2,000 square feet. And you can see here, very lovely, high vaulted ceilings. You got a nice move-in ready. This landlord knows what they're doing. This should rent quickly. This is Cherry Wong. Okay. And 1109 Engelman Court in Arcadia. Beautiful foothills property right here on Baldwin and Foothill. We have a six-bedroom mansion, almost 26,500 square feet lot. And recently in 2003, not too old, for just under $5 million. Congratulations to Henry Liu and Alan Xiang. They have this beautiful property here. So if you have a high-end custom home for the foothills and you're getting this amount of lot size, I don't think you're gonna find a better value. Custom chandelier. This is gorgeous with a wrapping staircase, custom built. You can see the elegance and sophistication of this property with the grand entry ballroom right here with that little fireplace. That's really, really awesome to see. So good luck to them. I hope they get this one closed out. Um, Gorgeous new listing of ours, and it's only 2 weeks on the market. So you have a nice little hot tub, dual sinks back and front, beautiful sparkling pool. Oh, that'd be nice having your garages side by side. Okay. Anyway, next property is 7843 Danner Court, Rancho Cucamonga for rent, 3450 per month. And this is Cherry Wong's client. And we also have another one, 1540 Potrero Grande. The front unit A in Rosemead is on sale for 659,000. And that is we listed with Edgar and Michael Ma. So this one is move-in shape. It's remodeled inside. Just so you can take a look inside, you can see there is nice newer bathroom, remodeled kitchen, and priced at 659. Hopefully this sells soon. You got South San Gabriel near Potrero Grande and Del Mar Avenue, kind of near where the new Costco is, and hopefully you have a client for this little condo. We have 2603 Durham Court, Arcadia for 1.5999 million. And this is right near the Arcadia office. So if you have anyone interested, it's the four bedrooms, four baths, 2188 square feet. Lovely home, recently built in 2020. So you have a nice little entry doorway that can lead you to a nice kitchen here. Oh, I love how they have so much organization using the walls. Cool. Nice laundry room. And congratulations to Xiaoling Chen on your listing over here. Okay, so as next step we have is to go and congratulate our closers. And so we do have some major congratulations. In a tough market, we have some really cool people who've sold listings this past 2 weeks. And we just want to congratulate on the closing at 3680 Star Touch Drive, Pasadena. We have a prime lot in the Upper Hastings Ranch area. It probably might be one of the properties that was impacted by the fires. So you take a look. There's not much visual reference, but you can see here you're buying mostly the dirt in the foothills. And for 925,000, um, congratulations to Helen Xiong. Her client purchased this land, and it's going to be hopefully be a gorgeous new home right in the foothills. Location's excellent. Um, 7843 Danner Court, Rancho Cucamonga, just closed as well. This is one of Cherry Wong's clients who purchased it and now is turning it into a rental. So we just saw this property. And same thing here. Client also purchased Myers Drive and will be using this property in Rancho Cucamonga as a rental as well. So both of them look familiar, and that's because she's turning one client into two transactions. And hopefully you can talk to your clients and help in getting um, to helping you and supporting you in your business. This is a 918 Garvey Avenue senior condo area, 300 unit 313 Monterey Park, just closed 435,000. And Jennifer Huang did a great job for her seller, along with listing agent Paul Huang. They got over asking on the price, and happy to report this listing closed. 13510 Hidden Valley Road in Victorville. Nice little single family just leased out, 2,300 per month. Just want to congratulate Julia for getting this done quickly for her client. And the owner is actually, yeah, the owner is part of this firm as well, is licensed real estate, and they still hired someone else to do the work for them. 10126 La Rosa Drive in Temple City is a new closing. $1 million, just 1,010,000 is its closing price. 3 beds, 2 baths. You have a big 11,500 lot. So definitely was a nice value. Congratulations to our closer, Henry Liu. He just closed this one out with Ash Risk. 1850 Second Avenue, Arcadia. This is 2.225 million closing, huge lot, over a half acre. And this Arcadia gem just closed out. Congratulations to Margaret and Amy, the Arcadia branch. They're listing and they got really close to that asking price. So very proud of them getting this sold at in a tougher market. We have 25795 Via Hamaca Avenue in Moreno Valley. This listing just closed for 554,000 essentially. This is purchased with Sylvia and Alicia Valencia. Congratulations to them both. This is a nice 3 bedrooms. Just closed out. Sylvia and Alicia Valencia. 5738 Beck Avenue. This is a North Hollywood listing of ours, just closed 2 weeks ago. This is congratulations to Carol Casey. And so those are some of the closings. I know we actually have some more people to recognize. I did want to recognize some closers. We have Ruben Roa. He just purchased a brand new construction with their buyer. So that just closed yesterday. And we have Danny Estremera. He closed his Diamond Bar listing yesterday as well. So the closing and the MLS hasn't been reported yet. I just do remember I want to congratulate them as well. Any questions on anything? All right, well that's it for today's sales meeting. I do have if you're gonna need me or have any needs in the next 2 days, my wife and I will be in Temecula, but we're available by phone or text. And if you have any questions or needs, um, the office would probably be very limited on Thursday and Friday, since a lot of people, I know we have a group of 15 or 16 people going in a group. So Thursday and Friday will be very lightly in attendance in the office. All right. I hope you guys are having a great day. That's the end of today's sales meeting. Wish all of you and your families during this 4th of July Independence Day weekend, get yourself prepared, okay, mentally and physically with something you're going to share about real estate. You're going to have a barbecue, you're going to have a celebration, you're going to see relatives and family and friends that you haven't seen in a while. Let them know the market conditions. Let them know what's going on. Talk about housing market, the price is going up or down. I mean, the people are going to ask you these questions. What is this a buyer's market? When are the rates going to fall? They're going to ask you, should I buy now or should I sell my property? And everything honestly means it depends. It depends on your circumstances. It depends on do you have something better to invest in? There's a lot of, like I said, uncertainty, and that means there's a lot of questions. So why don't you do yourself a favor, talk real estate, get yourself something to talk about in terms of hot topics. And I already talked about it in today's sales meeting. So if you could just replay this or listen to some of the news in the market, you can definitely be well informed to sound like a very insightful real estate broker or agent, and I think you'll have a very engaging conversation and you'll shine when you're at these holiday Independence Day celebrations. Bring your business cards, pass them out. Maybe you go to a public party. They have the public park and you can and watch the fireworks there to wear something real estate related, and hopefully you'll get and have more conversations that'll lead to more leads. All right. See you guys, and I'll see you at the next one.
Have a great 4th, everyone. I'm here working.
Okay, we're all working.